Hola, yo soy Darío and welcome to lesson number 2, lección número 2. Last time we learned how to say hi, I'm bye in English, but what if you want to be more polite? You want to say something like good morning or good afternoon, right? That's what we're gonna learn today. But before we get started with that, there's a couple of things that you need to know first. Okay, first, we're gonna be using two new sounds. And one of them is the letter U, which in Spanish is U. And the other one, which is the tricky one, is the sound of the letter R, which has two sounds. And it depends where it is placed on the word. So if it is at the beginning or at the end of the word or right before a consonant, it has that R sound, that R sound. I know it's a little tricky to make, and I think it's important for you to practice. And if you can't, you could say just like sound, that everybody is gonna understand what you're saying. You're just gonna have a funny accent. And the second sound of the letter R is ere, and we use it when it is right before a vowel, right? Ere. It has the sound same sound like the double T when you say better. Yeah, there you go, ere. Okay, the second thing that you need to know before you know how to say good morning, and that is that in Spanish we have genders for objects. So some things are masculine and some things are feminine, and we identify the gender of the object by the way the word is spelled. There is actually a rule that explains for you how to identify, but it is kind of complicated, so I'm not gonna be explaining that since this is a basic class. Instead, I made my own rule, which is gonna work like 90% of the time. So that rule is that if the word that you're talking about finishes with the letter A, that's gonna be a feminine word, and anything else would be masculine. Yep. So if it finishes with A, it's feminine. Finishes something else, it's gonna be masculine. And that's gonna work like 90% of the time. And that's probably what all the names of girls in Spanish finish with the letter A, like Maria, Teresa, Carolina, and all those names. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna use the word the cat. So how do we say cat in Spanish? We say gato. But if we're gonna say the cat, we're gonna say el gato, and that's gonna be a male cat, because you finish with the letter O, gato. If we're gonna be talking about a female cat, we're gonna say la gata. So you see that A at the end is gonna make it female, feminine. And how about if we wanna make it plural? Well, just like in English, we add an S to the end. So if we have two more cats, we're gonna say los gatos. And if we have two or more female cats, we're gonna say las gatas. Now we can get started with that good morning part. So the first thing we need to know first is how to say the word they in Spanish, and that would be dia. So let me ask a question. Based on the rule that I gave before, if I give you the word dia, would it be like a masculine or a feminine word? Well, if you follow the rule, it would be feminine, and we had la dia, but that is wrong. Remember I told you the rule would only work like 90% of the time? Well, the word dia falls in that 10%, so you just gotta remember that. So the correct way to say is el dia, so dia is a masculine word. Okay, knowing that now, how do you say good? Well, in this case, it's going to be buen. right? So, okay, so we have buen día. And now, how do we say good morning in Spanish? What we actually say when we say good morning, what we say is good days. Yeah, good days in plural. I don't know why, but that's the way we say it. So if we have dia, right, and we have good, which is buen, got buen dia, that's just good day. Now we gotta make it plural. And how do we make it plural? Just by adding the s's to the words. So we have buenos dias. That's it. Buenos dias. That's good morning. Now, good afternoon and good night. So, afternoon we say tarde, and that there we have that R sound, because before I canceled that letter D, so we have tarde. And if you follow a rule again, that should be a masculine word, right? But it is not. So it's actually feminine, as well as night, which is noche. That's also feminine. So we can't say buenos noches or buenos tardes. We have to change that too. So it will become buenas tardes for afternoon, buenas tardes, and buenas noches for good evening or good night. We say it the same way. So it's buenas noches. Okay. What's next? How do you say now goodbye in Spanish? There are different ways to say it, and one that is used a lot is something like hasta luego. Hasta luego. Hasta means until, and luego is like some point in the future. So when you say hasta luego, it's like until some point in the future, so like something like later. And yeah, that's it. There is also a famous one from Terminator when you say hasta la vista, baby. What that means is hasta, you already know, until, and that la vista means the sight. So what he actually means is like until I see you. Yeah. And yeah, that's it for now. Hasta luego. Ciao.